Good morning. This is Cracker's Crazy Living. It's Wednesday, July 3rd. Getting ready to fire up my son's grill, and I'm turning it into a smoker. Been feeling kind of under the weather this week. I had a bad sinus infection. I'm still trying to get over it. But it was a doozy this time. No fever, no sore throat, just horrible sinus infection, sinus headache, pressure, just not feeling good. And it was my first week off for summer break as I worked summer school for the month of June. And I really just don't want to spend my July sick. So here I am. I'm going to do a brisket, simple brisket for you. I got the brisket in the sink. I'm going to open the package and get it out. It is a huge, huge piece of meat. I mean, I can't believe how big this brisket was. It is almost 18 pounds. It's going to probably take 10 hours to cook. It's massive. Oh my gosh. It was 17.98 pounds. Look at that. Oh my God. I do know I'm going to have to trim some of this. When I was looking in the package, I was thinking I would probably not have to trim much of it off because it looked pretty lean in the package. However, there's always something that you want to do to it. Now, these experts that I watch on YouTube, and I have watched several of them this week, I've done a few briskets, but I've never done one on a Weber kettle grill and turned it into a smoker. So that's my plan today. Just to give you an idea on how big this is. I think I might have to sharpen my knife. I need a really good knife sharpener. And the one I have, I don't know. Oh, wait, I think I stuck it in that other drawer. The one that I have, I don't know if it works all that well. I really need a good knife sharpener. I'm going to measure this brisket. I am not an expert on smoking, nor am I an expert on brisket. I think that's pretty sharp. I'm learning like everybody else. Let me get a measuring tape and show you how big this sucker really is. Normally, when I would cook a brisket, I would have to cut it in half. I would have to cut the point away from the flat because in my old smoker, I couldn't fit the whole thing in there. It was narrow. It was only like a foot wide or so. But since I'm doing it on the Weber, I was going to keep it in one piece. So from point to flat, it is, wow, almost 21 inches long, pre-trim. his grill is 22 inches wide. So definitely, you know, the experts they all tell you that you should trim your brisket a little bit, and you should cut the end off. And you can't see this on camera very well. See how it is kind of like slanted? A lot of people don't like that, and they'll trim it off like this. They'll round it out down here to make it look more aerodynamic. They were using that word a lot, aerodynamic. And they were talking about getting some of those hard fat off. I guess guys, oh, I'm using the wrong knife. I guess guys that do this stuff, they like, definitely easier with a sharper knife. They like the appearance of stuff. They like everything to kind of like flow, like aerodynamic. I don't really care about aerodynamic stuff, but I might have to trim that end off. They do talk a lot about getting the silver skin off. I found this brisket at Sam's Club a while back. It is a prime piece of meat, which is hard to find prime meat at Sam's. They have choice a lot. They don't always have prime, but I found this, and it said prime, and it was, I don't remember how much it was per pound, but I'm sure it says on that package. But the whole brisket was like $70, and it was a big one, you know, almost 18-pound brisket. So I thought that was a good price for that big of a piece of meat. It really did. So now I watched a guy yesterday that took a brisket, and he did not trim it, and because he wanted to see, you know, what would happen if he just took a brisket that was not trimmed. And he cooked it on the Weber kettle. He wanted to see how it was going to turn out. See, I can't get the silver skin off. I can't get it to come off, this stuff. They make it look so simple. They just peel it right off. Some of it comes off easy. Might not even trim this end because I'm going to cut it off. I got me a decent knife at Sam's. This boning knife. I got this one too. Because I never had a good sharp knife to do this with. And you gotta have a sharp knife. You can't do this without having a really good sharp knife. I think these people that go on there and they trim these briskets, and they trim off the sides, and they trim off the end, and I think they do that just because they want it to look a certain way. I don't care how it looks. I care about what it tastes like when it's cooked. That was a big hunk of meat or fat. Now, I did do pretty good at picking out one because it's not horribly fatty. It's not horribly fatty, which is good. You don't have a ton of it to see, there's not much of a fat cap on here. And usually the fat cap is so thick that you have to cut a ton of it off to get to, they say you want like a 1/4 of an inch of fat on it. See, that's what they do. They cut these uneven edges off. So I think that's what I'm going to do. They square it up, what they call squaring it up. You take some of this fat off, number one, because you don't need it on there. Number two, they say it doesn't render down. So if it doesn't render when you're cooking it, then it's not. It's not melting away. It's just staying all hard and stuff. I trim off anything that, you know, got a flap on it, or I've had this in the freezer for a while, because I bought it and I threw it in the freezer because I wanted that price, that good price. You see, this doesn't look horrible. I'll just cut some of it off to see what it looks like underneath. It's not that thick. So I'm going to turn this over. And this fat wasn't really hard fat. This is hard fat. But the other stuff isn't really that hard. So, let me see. Can't really cut this side off. Alright, so if I'm going to cut this end off, I'm going to go right around, right about here. And they just round it off. You just round it off like this. I'll keep that. I won't throw that away. See, and they just round that off. Not a ton of fat on that side. But now at least I've made it to where I could probably get this in the smoker or on the grill without it hanging off the edge or something. I'm going to squish it in there too tight. There. I need to blow my nose. Okay. I don't think I'm going to hack it anymore. Okay. All right, I'm going to wash my hands. Rinse them off real good. Put this fat. Put this fat into a pan, and I can render that down. It might be too small. Pan. Well, I'll just put it in there for now. I don't need a big old thing. So I don't like to have to cut that big end off. But they say that if you have those big ends that are uneven, that they just burn up. They burn. And that's a lot of meat I just cut off of there, in my opinion. That's a lot. But they said you could throw it on there and cook it. But it does look a little nicer being kind of more rounded. Because I think I would have had issues with, getting it on the grill. If I had left this piece on here, if I had left that on there, I think I would have had a hard time trying to get it on the grill. So I'm okay with cutting it off. I just hate cutting away meat, that's all. And these guys don't seem to care when they're doing it, but in my opinion, everything you cut off is money. Now the fat, yeah, you have to cut the fat off. I understand that, but when you start cutting away meat, because you don't want uneven cooking, or it's going to burn on you, I don't know. They say that they take their meat and they grind it up for hamburger or whatever, but I don't have a grinder. All right, hold on a second. I have to blow my nose. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just been suffering with this sinus thing. This is like my second day of having coffee. I was drinking herbal tea for 4 days. So I know it's starting to get a little late. My initial plan was to get up at 5 o'clock this morning to get this done, and but when I rolled over and it was 4:45, I was just like, I can't. So I mean, it's this brisket. I'm cooking it not for any one particular thing. Number one, I've been wanting to try this method of smoking. Number two, tomorrow is the 4th of July, and I'm just wanting a brisket. I guess what happened, what happened with my smoker is it wore out. The bottom of my smoker completely wore out, and it rusted, and then it fell apart. The bottom part fell apart. The burner still works fine. It's the housing of the smoker is falling apart. And I was going to try to fix it, and then a couple of my friends and my daughter-in-law was like, just get a new one, don't fix it. Okay, well, the one that I really want is $300-400. I don't have $300 or $400. My smoker lasted me 4.5 years. So after a while of not smoking stuff, you get the hankering to want to smoke something because I enjoy it. I think it's so much fun. I don't know. And then when I pull something off of there that tastes really good, I'm very happy with myself. And look what I did. I made a really good brisket. So anyway, we're going to get some seasoning on here. Now, the majority of people have been using the last 4 videos I was watching this week. They all use salt, pepper, and garlic. That is it. Some of them put the mustard on there for the binder. I guess the binder part is only to get your seasoning to stick to the meat. That's all it's for. It really doesn't give it much flavor. Some people don't like it at all. Some people say you could use water, mustard, you could use Worcestershire sauce on it for a binder. Some people don't use nothing at all. They just put it on there. But they use a lot of pepper. I do know that they use a lot of pepper. Now, most of these guys make their own seasoning. I had mixed up some seasoning. Where did I put it? I made my own seasoning one day. Put onion powder, garlic powder, Creole, taco seasoning, smoked paprika, salt, and pepper in it. I'm not going to use that today, though. I would put that on chicken or ribs or something if I wanted to do something like that. Where did I put my SPG? Here it is. This is Cabela's brand of SPG. Salt, pepper, and garlic. Now they just put it into a shaker. I have a shaker on this. They usually make up their own stuff. It smells really good. So I'm going to put this on there. And I might throw some extra salt in it. I don't know. My husband likes salt. The rest of us don't. These guys all put a ton of pepper on it. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on here. And they tell you, don't rub your brisket with the stuff on it. Pat it. I should have gloves on for this, but I didn't. And they always tell you to do the sides of your meat. Get it all on there. Pat it all down. They tell you, they say to put a ton of it on here. So I'm not being shy with it. I don't want it all on my board though. I might probably have just enough to do the other side. Wish I could have got that. That's what they call the mohawk. Maybe I should trim a little bit more of that off. Because it goes up like this. Yeah. It doesn't look that bad. It's like you get going on this trimming stuff and you just keep going and going and going, and you got to be careful. It's kind of like cutting hair. Next thing you know, you're bald. I'm going to be cooking this cap side up, fat side up. Believe me, I have watched these guys. So I should have cut that off. think I got it in my head now without having to watch another video of exactly how to place it on the grill. Where to have the vents open. I've been studying. And that's the only way for me to learn. I don't have anybody that does this that can teach me how they do it. I mean, I've got some friends that smoke stuff, but you know what? They're just as knowledgeable as I am. They're no professionals. So, you know, figure they've done stuff and they share it, and I've done stuff, but, you know, I don't even talk to that person anymore. So I'm just kind of watching my own, doing my own videos, watching my own thing. My husband don't care what I do as far as smoking stuff because he doesn't like to do this stuff anymore. So, okay. I don't think I'm going to take any more. Let me get some of this. Yeah, this is some of that fat that it's hard to explain. It's kind of like I could see why they use a long, skinny boning knife because it definitely helps. It definitely does help. And the sharper, the better. Oops. I'm just not very even with doing this, you know, and they do it, you know, they get it all nice and even and smooth, and mine kind of looks haggled. But I guess the more you do it, the better you get at it, just like anything else. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do. The seasoning on there. A lot of guys make their own seasoning. They have a special measurement of the stuff. That was it. I might make some more. Let me just put some more salt, pepper, and garlic in there. They do like 2 cups pepper, 1 cup salt, and then 1/3 of garlic or something like that. They all seem to use coarse ground pepper. Well, I don't have any coarse ground pepper. I just have regular ground pepper. So I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to add some pepper to this. Ooh. Yeah, that looks good. That'll open up my sinuses. My sinuses have been so clogged lately. And they always use kosher salt, but all I have is table salt. Plain table salt. And I've got some globs up here that are stuck. Alright. I'm just going to put... So I kind of got it layered in here. You can see it. I gotta find some granulated garlic. Some kind of garlic. That's minced onion. Garlic powder. All I have is this garlic powder. It's not like granulated garlic at all. I'll just dump the rest of this in there. So you can see I got it kind of layered. I got pepper, salt, garlic. So we'll try that. I'll shake it up. At least I still have the shaker bottle and I can just shake this up. Making a ton of dust. Oh, wow, yeah. That's a lot more pepper than what I had in there. This is a large piece of meat. It's not going to hurt nothing to have seasoning on it at all. My husband will come back and say, there's not enough salt on it, because he says it all the time. He says it all the time. Well, there's not enough salt. I'm afraid to salt it too much. Just because. I don't want too much salt. I like that crispy bark part, but not if it's so salty you can't eat it. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
So, what are we doing tomorrow?
Amanda invited us to come over at 5. They're doing chicken on the grill and having people from church come over, you know, Violet and Jordan and basically the same friends that they invited to the birthday. No drinking, you know, she don't want no alcohol, which is fine, you know, it's a dry party, that's okay. I don't need to be drinking anyway, with my sinuses and stuff. So they're just gonna have chicken and stuff. Don't know if they're gonna put the tents up or the slide. It all depends on the rain. I said I'm cooking brisket because I'm itching to cook brisket. So I'm cooking this because I'm cooking it today, so I can bring that. I'll probably make coleslaw. I was thinking about potato salad, but she said she was going to invite Grandma, but it's at 5 tomorrow. 5 till whenever. She's telling people she only has sparklers. She doesn't have any fireworks. If you want to bring it, bring it. If not, not.
Okay.
That's what she said, so.
At 5 in the afternoon. Alright.
Yeah, so I know Tiffany said that you guys had friends that invited you out to the beach or something.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't sure what she wanted to do, but it's just out there. So it's not like it's a major plan.
Okay.
She's like, we're doing this. I was gonna invite you. I said, well, Dad's been bugging me to ask you what you were doing. So come look at my brisket.
1 second, let me say goodbye to Tiffany. Love you.
I had to mix up some more seasoning because I ran out. This is just salt, pepper, and garlic.
Come here, Sadie. Come here, Sadie. Oh, yes.
I cut a bunch of it off. I cut all that off of it. Fat and stuff. I cut the end off. The end is always jagged. And in these guys, it has to be aerodynamic. Oh, shoot. I still had this going. Shoot, I should have had you paused all that time. My son came over and was asking me about tomorrow. I actually forgot that I had you on camera. You get so comfortable with it, you just don't think about it. All right, so now I'm going to put you back on pause, And then I'm going to go out and start getting the grill ready, but I'll bring you with me and I'll turn you back on. And you can see how I am going to do this time. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to prep the charcoal. I ended up buying for it because a lot of the guys on the videos were using this slow in sear. It's got a thing here to put your water in. I have to put the water trough on the inside because it won't sit on the outside. And I don't think it's supposed to sit on the outside. I think it's supposed to sit like that. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put the charcoal in the basket. Going to put hot coals over here and cold coals over here. And the idea is that the hot is supposed to go over this way to the cold as it cooks. So we're gonna go for it. You know, we're gonna try this out. I'm gonna see how this is going to work, if it's going to work. I mean, I've watched several people do this. And they all say it works. Because people have all different methods of smoking, and mine is propane smoker. I gotta turn around, the sun's in my eyes, I can't see the really. I wanted some lump charcoal, but the only lump charcoal they had that looked like it would work was called Jealous Devil. I don't like the name, so I wasn't gonna buy it. Two guys used just regular Kingsford charcoal briquettes. A couple of guys used lump charcoal. So what they did was they would dump some in here, and then they would get their little tumbleweed. I don't have a lighter. All I have is long matches. I don't have a lighter. And they would get they got these tumbleweeds. These are natural starting things, I guess. They would light the tumbleweed, and then they'd stick it down in the charcoal. Kind of like dig out a little hole, stick it down in there, and then put charcoal on top. Not to smother it, he said, but just to pile some on top so it'll get going. And then they put their water. I just have hot tap water in these bottles. And they poured it in here. Yep. And they just said not to overflow it. Now, a couple of these guys would get their fire going and put the lid on it and get the fire going really good before they put their meat on. Some guys put the meat on right away. A lot of them use chimney starters. I'm not doing that either. This, you know, looked like it worked just fine. I need to put the tumbleweed on the bottom and then put the charcoal on the top. Then they took their smoking material. I have hickory today. I probably should go out in the shed and see. They only put 3 chunks of wood on this thing. They only put 3 or I'm going to put 4. I always do too much. I always seem like I do too much. And they would put the they put the smoking stuff just like that. Yeah, maybe 3 chunks is all you really need. Then they would put the grill grate on top. I do need to go get me a drip pan though. Hold on, I'm going to go get a drip pan. Okay, I just have a square aluminum cheap pan. That's all you have to have. You don't have to have anything fancy. Wait a minute, where's the... Gotta put it on where these things open. Where is it open? Oh, there. Yeah, he went it this way. I want my grill grate on there where I could open the side in order to put more wood in there. I want to be able to open the side here, put more charcoal in as you need it. That's really starting to go. It's really starting to smoke. All right, so I'm gonna put the lid on, and you want, see, I'm gonna put my meat over here. So you want your vent to be over the meat. That's what they say. So I'm gonna let this heat up for a minute. I like this is Brian's grill, and I like it too. It's got the thermostat right on the front. My old smoker had a thermostat on the front. My grills do not have a thermostat. They're just a cheap grill. They're just a $97 special. So, I'm going to go get my meat. I'm going to let this warm up. I don't know if I want to let it warm up or just stick it on there. Some people say they just put it on there and let it go. So no matter what I do, it's going to be, I'm going to be doing it for the next 3 hours. Without even messing with it. I am going to take my spray bottle that I have, and I'm going to go wash it out, and I'm going to fill it. A lot of these guys use water and vinegar to spritz their meat. Some of them use straight up vinegar, and some of them use apple juice and vinegar. I don't have apple juice, so I think I'm going to do apple cider vinegar and water, because that's what one guy does. He does it, and they only spritz it just to keep it moist on the sides, because the sides is what dries out first. So I'm going to go get my piece of meat, and I'm going to get ready to put this bugger on my grill. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm going to get this off. Woo-dee. Lovely. I'm going to get my meat on here. And then they do fat side up, cap side up. So I'm going to put it on there like that. I'm going to squish it on there. My gosh. It's a good thing I did cut that end off. Any bigger, it would not fit. And they do kind of say to shape it and squish it on there. There's really no squishing it on there. All right, it's starting to go pretty well. Put the lid on. Open the vent about halfway maybe, they said, because your smoke is going to go from here to here. I'm learning a lot about doing it this way. I really am. I'm starting to understand how the smoke works. So when you do it like this, you got the smoke going from this side over the meat to this side and out the vent, which is what you want. And when you're doing it in a tall smoker, the smoke is just all in there. I don't know, it's just different. It's just way different. But at least me learning how to do it this way will give me the advantage of thinking, okay, if I want to buy another smoker, what kind of smoker am I looking for? I started with a propane because that was the easiest for me to learn with. Propane. You can adjust the gas up or down. You could adjust your thermostat that way by turning it up, turning it down. It was really kind of, I still had to come out and check it, you know, so it wasn't like you just put it in there and forgot about it, because you couldn't do that. Do I want an offset smoker where you have the firebox and then you have the smoker? Those are only $200. They're cheap because there's nothing to it. There's a box and there's a grill. My husband wants me to get an electric smoker because he had one years ago. I don't want an electric smoker. I don't know why. I just don't want an electric smoker. The Traegers, of course, with the pellet grills, we don't like the pellet idea because we don't know what the pellets are made from. I mean, they come in flavors and they come in different kinds, but what is it exactly? Is it chopped up wood that's glued back together to make the pellets? We don't know. I like wood chunks. I like to do this, wood chunks. So Traegers and pellet grills are way too expensive. I can't afford one of those. Unless somebody else wants to buy it and bring it to me. So yeah, I can't afford one of those. So when I found out that I could use Brian's grill and try that with one extra part, yeah, that slow and sear was $99 on Amazon, but I bet you that was the cheapest I could find, because I was going to replace his grill grates too. I was going to buy him a new grill grate, and I'm going to buy him a new charcoal grate, because this kettle has been used a lot. It's been sitting outside with no cover for over 4 years, and it's still in great shape. And I got a really good deal on it at Walmart, but no, you know what? You can't find these anymore. I don't know why. Walmart doesn't have them anymore. Home Depot had one, but it was half the size, and I only paid like $89 for this. I might have got it at the end of the season that year, but it was okay with me, you know. I mean, so anyway, the one good thing about trying it this way is that if it works this way, I might just save my money and stay with this for a while. If I get pretty good at it, I might just do an offset smoker. So you gotta make a fire, so you gotta tend the fire. You still have to do that. You still have to pay attention to it no matter what method you're using. Unless you have a fancy Traeger, and I did see these guys fill up the pellet box, set it to the temperature they wanted, stick it in there, and not even touch it for hours. Well, like I said, I don't have that kind of money. So I'm just going to do it this way, and we're going to see how this works. And we're going to go from there. Trial and error. These guys that did this way, they all said, did it come out as good as it does on my offset? Maybe not. Did it do this or did it do that? And they're like, they would do it again. You know, if they don't have a fancy smoker, you don't have a fancy offset grill, they would definitely do it this way. So I think it's going to be fine. But I'll come back later, about 4 hours into it. I'll come back 3 hours maybe. And the one guy, he opens it up every hour and turns it. I'm not doing that. Another guy said he let it go. He put it on and he let it go for 3 hours. Didn't touch it for 3 hours. Came out at 3 hours, checked his charcoal to see what was going on with the charcoal. Had to refill some charcoal and then put the lid back on it and let it go like 4 more hours. I mean, these cooks took upwards 8 to 10, 12 hours. So I might be out here till 8 o'clock tonight, but it's okay. I got nothing but time. And then I got to pull it out. When I get this to like 170 degrees internal temperature, then I don't even think I'm going to put my probe in it. I have a probe. I don't think I'm going to mess with it. I think I'm just going to go with how I was learning how it looks, how it feels. Check the temperature periodically. And then once I get it to like 170, then I'm going to wrap it in butcher paper. And one guy put it in his oven at 250 degrees until it came up to 205, 208. And then he took it out and rewrapped it and held it in a cooler for 2 hours. But then he said that it was sitting in something for up to 12 hours. So this one guy, he took it out, put it in the oven, he rested it, and then, of course, I'm going to have to refrigerate it tonight. I'm not going to be able to just leave it out. So I'll refrigerate it. And then he said the next day when he wanted to kind of bring it back up a little bit, he put it on his grill. He put the flame on his gas grill. He put the flame on low, and he put the brisket on the other side, and he just let it go. And a couple more hours. It wasn't cooking, it was just heating, because I want it to be hot and I want it to be where I can slice it nice. I want to slice it when it's warm and not when it's cold. It's too hard to slice when it's cold. It tastes better when it's hot. So anyway, it's getting up to like 300 degrees. It's at 250 right now. That's pretty good. All right. I'll check back with you later. Talk to you soon. Bye.